Welcome to TWT Talks with Tito. This is Tito Madrano back for another episode, back in your live. So today we're going to talk about WWE Backlash UFC 315. And I do want to apologize. I've been out for 2 weeks. I've been just, dealing with some personal stuff outside of, TWT Talks with Tito podcast goes. But I'm back. And I am here to give you Backlash and UFC 315. Let's talk about Backlash first. Live from St. Louis, Missouri. 5 matches. To kick off the match, it was for the United States title. The champion. Jacob Fatu versus the former champion, LA Knight. Yeah, versus the former United States champion as well, Damian Priest. And versus Drew McIntyre. So this match, I'm not shocked that this was the match that was going to kick off. This event needed a match, needed a strong match to kick off. No one better than the Fatal 4-Way match between all 4 of these guys. So this match was pretty good. A lot of good spots. There's a lot of the rivalry between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre was relived again. We had, LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. Both guys, the spots they took. And overall, this match was just, it was good. It was good. We saw that Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest were taking this match outside because this match was pretty much a no disqualification match. Anybody could get involved in a way. This match, just everything was involved in this match. And LA Knight, as soon as he was gonna do his finisher move on Jacob Fatu on the commentating announcement table, we see Solo Sikoa coming in, and he pulls Jacob Fatu. He pulls Jacob Fatu out of the way from the commentating announcing table. LA Knight goes to approach Solo Sikoa, but Solo Sikoa did not come alone. Somebody showed up with him, and that somebody was Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is now officially a part of WWE, and I think he's a part of the new, I think they're still considered the new bloodline. I'm not sure if that's still a thing, but he's a part of that group now. Jeff Cobb attacks LA Knight. Jacob Fatu picks up the win and retains the United States title. We did see that he was not too pleased the fact that they got involved in this match. Drew and Damian were taking this frustration outside of this match. They practically forgot about what happened there. But yeah, so Jacob Fatu retains the belt, and it looks like Solo Sikoa now has a new member on the group. Jeff Cobb is officially a part of WWE, which is crazy to believe because Jeff Cobb's been wrestling all over the world. New Japan, he appeared in AEW for a bit. I think he did TNA as well, but mainly New Japan has been one of the companies that he's been, recognized for. Let's not forget that he also was Matanza Cueto, a part of Lucha Underground. He did Matanza. Not a lot of people know that, but he he was the guy that did Matanza for Lucha Underground. And yeah, welcome to the WWE, Jeff Cobb. And let's see what happens from there. All right, moving on to the next match. This was for the Women's Intercontinental Champion. The champion, Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch, the man, Big Time Bex. We know that these 2 girls won the tag team belts at WrestleMania 41 to then later drop the belts because they dropped the belts the following night on Raw. Becky's a heel now. Lyra is the babyface. I'm actually shocked that Becky Lynch didn't win this match because I honestly thought they were going to go that route with her. And, obviously to add more belts on her resume, that Becky Lynch already has an amazing resume as far as her wrestling career and as far as championship goes. But I honestly thought they were going to go that route with her. But Lyra Lyra showed a lot of grit in this match. She showed a lot of like champion spirit, and a lot of people have been sleeping on her title reign. But after this match, I feel like people are gonna literally look at Lyra differently, because originally everybody wanted to see Dakota Kai, which crazy to believe that she's not released. I can't believe that, but her and a lot of other girls. But everybody wanted to see Dakota Kai be the first ever women's Intercontinental Champion, but didn't go that route. They decided to go with Lyra. Lyra has kind of like proved that she is worthy as far as championship goes, and putting a good match with Becky showed why. And let's not forget that it's not the first time both of these girls face each other. Let's not forget that they face each other for the NXT Women's Championship, which Becky took the belt from her, and then Lyra took it back. So yeah, Lyra retained the Women's Intercontinental Champion, and yeah, I was shocked because I thought honestly they were gonna give it to Becky. Becky later attacks her. We saw a lot of. We saw that Becky kind of grabbed her and was telling her, like, look, I got your fiance, because her fiance was on the front row seat. So, yeah. I'm shocked that Becky didn't win, but at the same time, I'm not mad that Lyra retained the belt, because I feel like Lyra is making that belt meaningful every time. But, yeah. Moving on to the next match. Which was the next match? Okay. It was we just talked about the Intercontinental title for women's. Let's talk about the Intercontinental title for men's. This was for the Intercontinental title. Dominic Mysterio, the Intercontinental Champion, versus El Cero Miedo Penta. This match, I like this match a lot because I feel like Dominic Mysterio, there's a lot of good spots that he took, but also Dominic Mysterio, he's evolving as far as wrestling goes. We saw that suicide dive DDT that Penta caught and Dominic counter. It was amazing. This match was just good. I feel like a lot of people thought that Dom was gonna lose this match, but I was like, nah, he just won the belt. There's no way he's gonna lose this match. But I would have been shocked that he did. But I feel like Penta, we know the Judgment Day, Finn, Carlitos, and JD McDonough came out to try to help Dom. And, Penta saw it a mile away. He was prepared for it. But what Penta did not see was El Gran Americano, which we all know is Chad Gable. But yes, he interfered and he pretty much hit Penta with the thing that he has the stuff on his head. I think it's a shoehorn or something. I don't know what it is, but he hit him with that, and Dominic capitalized and 1, 2, 3 won that match. And yeah, Dominic is still the Intercontinental Champion, and yeah, and Penta, I'm pretty sure Penta and El Gran Americano are probably gonna feud after this. All right, moving on to the next match. This match was pretty much a build-up match that was happening. We know that Gunter attacked Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee stepped up for Michael Cole, and then he choked him out, and they set up the match for Backlash. So Gunter versus Pat McAfee. Look, this match, I was not really too hyped about this match, not because I didn't believe in Pat McAfee. I just feel like Pat McAfee's one of those guys, when he gets in the ring with a professional wrestler, he gives it his all. I knew he was going to give it his all. But there was times in this match where I'm like, okay, Gunter could have ended this match any time, if we're being honest. But he didn't, because I feel like Pat McAfee is one of those guys that, quite frankly, he's going to go in there and put up a good match with anyone. We've seen it with Adam Cole in the past, Austin Theory in WrestleMania. Who else? I mean, he's been in that ring for a few guys, but again, the bumps that he took, the chops that he took from Gunter, It shows how dedicated Pat McAfee is, not only as a commentator, but also getting in that ring. And that's what I feel like. If people are trying to do this temporarily, give it your all. And I think Pat McAfee is the perfect example of that. He gives it his all when he's in that commentating table or when he's in that ring. But Gunter, obviously, we know that we knew that Gunter was going to win. It was just a matter of how he was going to win, but obviously Gunter chokes him out. We saw that Michael Cole try to get involved. And we saw that he tried to interfere. Didn't work out for him. Michael Cole almost got destroyed by Gunter too. So in a way, it's a good thing Michael Cole didn't get too involved because it would have not been good for him. But yeah, Gunter beats Pat McAfee, and we'll see where he goes from here for him, and we'll see if Pat McAfee decides to, get in there again or not. All right, moving on to the main event. This is the last time these guys will ever face each other. I feel like this match is arguably the end of an era for both guys. The WWE Undisputed Champion, John Cena versus Randy Orton. So this match right here, it was a no disqualification in a way. I mean, all bets are off. Both guys. This is not the best match they had against each other, by all means necessary. But it was going to be meaningful that the fact that both of these guys were going to go at each other. Inside the ring, outside the ring. No rules involved. I mean, we had two different referees that got, John practically pushed Randy, or Randy bumped into referees accidentally, and they were knocked out for a bit. But, as soon as that happened, both guys took advantage of the situation. Randy threw him over a table, threw him over the announcing table. Same thing with John Cena. He was using his tactic. What made this match meaningful is this is the first time that John Cena is a heel and Randy is the face, because every time, the majority of the times that they face each other, Randy was always the heel and John Cena was always the face. But that was not the case anymore. We saw a lot of involvement too. Randy Orton RKO'd him a couple of times, but there was no ref. John Cena, he did the AA a couple of times. There was no ref. But yeah, there was a lot of things going on in this match, to the point where John Cena tried to hit Randy with the belt, but he hit instead the referee, and the referee was out. We saw that John RKO'd him. He tried to do the 1, 2, 3, but again, the referee was gone. And Nick Aldis comes out. Everybody from backstage, Shane Holmes, Jamie Noble, Daivari, all these guys that, former wrestlers too, that work backstage now. And then Randy Orton just makes it an RKO party. He RKOs all of them. And at that point, he's pissed and he's ready to do the punt to John Cena. The famous punt, And as soon as he does the punt, R-Truth pops up. R-Truth pops up out of nowhere. And am I surprised that R-Truth showed up? Not really, because R-Truth, that's his childhood hero. He talked about it numerous of times. I'm shocked that he prevented Randy from punting him a little bit, but I didn't think he would show up to the match. But I prefer R-Truth than Travis Scott. I'll take him over Travis Scott any given day. And then obviously R-Truth gets the RKO. And then from there, John Cena, Randy Orton's like, what are you doing? After he RKOs him, are you serious? John Cena, boom, low blows Randy Orton, and then hits him with the belt. And 1, 2, 3. John Cena retains the belt. And yep, John Cena remains the champion. And yeah, and then after the the press conference, the post press conference, John Cena comes out and he's gonna talk. Randy Orton. R-Truth comes out. He's all like, I always believed in you, even though people say you can't wrestle. And John Cena's like, that was out of line. One more word from you, there's gonna be consequences. R-Truth says something else, and then John Cena just AAs him over the table, and yeah. So R-Truth, that's what he gets for trying to help his childhood hero. His childhood hero didn't even care for him. He just got the AA. Come on, R-Truth. What did R-Truth do to you so he can deserve that? Come on. But yeah, that is WWE Backlash. What do you guys thought of it? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys enjoy the last match between Randy Orton and John Cena? Because I honestly think that was the end of an era for that match. And we probably won't. They definitely won't face each other anymore. But yeah. All right. Moving on. I didn't forget about you, my MMA fans. Moving on to UFC 315. Live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We're going to talk about the main roster real quick. Benoit Saint Denis won his match by finish. But let's talk about Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. This match, this fight right here kind of shocked me a little bit because Alexa Grasso was she was just like, Natalia Silva was punching and moving, but Alexa Grasso was not really like doing much. She was throwing her jab, which fantastic jab by the way that she has, but Alexa Grasso was not like, she was being hesitant in a way. And I don't know if it had to do because, Alexa Grasso was dealing with an injury. She was out for a couple of months. She was out for the majority of last year after she fought Valentina Shevchenko. She had to take some time off for, I think it was her leg, or I'm not exactly % sure, but I think it was her leg that she had to take care of, and she was out of action for a while. But Alexa Grasso was just not putting the pressure on Natalia Silva, and she was like, like I said, what I see, she looked hesitant. She looked like she was trying to like figure Natalia Silva out. But Natalia Silva, she knows a big win over Alexa Grasso, former UFC flyweight champion, is a big deal. So she was not gonna waste time. The only thing that I didn't notice about Natalia Silva, she wasn't trying to like look for the finish. She was just trying to like outperform Alexa Grasso on the stand-up. I'm actually shocked Alexa Grasso didn't even try to take this fight down either. She was just like, and man, she's tough. She took a kick in the face and she kept going. But yeah, Alexa Grasso was just very hesitant. And like I said, I don't know if it has to do due to, because, coming back from an injury, it takes time to heal, and then takes time to get into training camp, and then going into a fight, the weight cut. So I don't know if there's a lot of narratives that were involved, but Alexa Grasso was just not being first as far as offense goes. And she just looked very hesitant, and I don't know what it was. Hopefully it's something that she would have to sit down with her coaches and figure that out. But yeah, I feel like Alexa Grasso, this was a tough loss for her because it kind of like sets her back from where she wants to go. And Natalia Silva, this is a big win for her. She probably will get the title shot maybe, but who knows? We'll see. But yeah, moving on to the next fight. Jose Aldo versus Ayman Sahabi. Ayman Sahabi, he is the brother of Farah Sahabi. Farah Sahabi is one of the greatest coaches in MMA. The head coach of TriStar. He trained the greatest of all time, Georges St. Pierre, of course. Georges St. Pierre was in the corner of Ayman Sahabi. He also trained Rory McDonald, which, by the way, Rory McDonald was at the UFC fights, which is great to see him at a UFC event again. And he trained a lot of other good fighters, too. Ayman Sahabi and Jose Aldo, this fight was first round, I think Jose Aldo definitely won the first round. He came more aggressive. He, he threw more counters. He beat Amon to the punch all the time. Second round, I think it was very even, but at the same time, Amon did have a takedown, succeeded with the takedowns. I don't know if that was enough for him to win that fight, but then the third round, Jose Aldo almost finished Amon Sahabi. He was this close, but Amon showed a lot of grit in that fight. He showed that he can overcome a storm, which that's what Jose Aldo gave to him. He overcame Jose Aldo, and he took the fight down. He was grounding and pounding Jose Aldo, throwing elbows, cut Jose Aldo, and that was the end of the third round. Going into the judges, this fight was really tough to judge, to be honest, but Jose Aldo did not do enough to win this fight. Amon Sahabi won by unanimous decision, which I thought it could have been a split decision, but I'm actually shocked that no judge gave Aldo this fight. But again, Amon Sahabi, good win for him, but at the same time, there has to be a lot of improvements, because if you're going to fight Aldo, you're going to fight the top guys. And let's not forget that a lot was going on. Aldo did not make weight. He's not known for making weight. So he was 8 pounds over. This fight was supposed to be in the bantamweight division, and it became a start, so they did it in the featherweight division. So that also played probably a factor on Jose Aldo. He was just very off as far as that goes. But then when they interview Jose Aldo, when Daniel Cormier interviewed Jose Aldo took the gloves off and he announced his retirement. Look, I'm going to be very honest. I'm happy that Aldo is retiring, because there's no point for him to continue fighting. There's nothing else for him to prove. I stressfully said this in my previous episodes. Jose Aldo does not need to fight again. And he should have retired at UFC 201. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. At UFC 301. Sorry. UFC 301. He should have retired there. Brazil. It was in Rio. Would have been a perfect retirement fight for him. And he won, too. But no, he kept fighting against Mario Bautista, and then he fought against Amon Sahabi. So I feel like Jose Aldo, it's a good thing he retired, and he is forever a legend in the sport. He's a GOAT, the greatest featherweight of all time. But the fact that he couldn't make the weight, he was 8 pounds over, it shows you that I think Jose Aldo, and he said it in the interview, his body, his mind are just not in it anymore for him to compete anymore at the highest level. And when and again, Father Time is undefeated for any fighter. So there's no point for him to continue fighting. And as far as Amon Sahabi, good win. But there's adjustments that he's going to have to make if he's going to fight the top of the top fighters at 135 and the bantamweight division. And he called out Chito Vera. Good call out. But Chito Vera, if he's going to fight that guy, he's going to have to do a lot of improvements, and he's going to have to learn a lot from this fight, because there's a lot of mistakes that Amon Sahabi made in this fight that could have cost him the fight against Jose Aldo. So, and I'm sure he does not want to make those mistakes when he fights Chito Marlon Vera. But good win for him, and Aldo, enjoy retirement. All right, let's talk about the co-main event. This was for the UFC Flyweight Championship. The champion, Valentina Shevchenko versus Maimon Ferrat, the French fighter. Maimon Ferrat. I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of her fights. I know that she beat Doug Rose, but I haven't seen much of her fight, so I'm not going to sit here and say. When she got the title shot, I was shocked, because I thought Alexa Grasso was going to fight Valentina for the 4th time. But again, Alexa Grasso was dealing with the injury, so she had to take some time off. This fight right here, it just shows the dominance of Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina was just dominating in the stand-up, dominating everywhere. Ferrant did take her down, but it was just temporarily. It wasn't nothing to be worried. Valentina Shevchenko found a way to just win this fight. Because Valentina, this is not her first rodeo. She's been in title fights the majority of her career. If you look at all her fights, maybe like 80% of her fights or 90% of her fights were title shots. So she's been in this position before. She's been in 5 rounds before. Valentina Shevchenko is no stranger to competing at this level. And she won this fight just by being the better fighter and being the smarter fighter. And there was points in this fight where we thought Valentina was going to probably finish this fight. But when you fight at the highest level, it's kind of hard to finish someone. And I think Valentina knows this in the back of her head that, you know what, this is a tough position to be at, and you're not going to finish them all. And being the caliber champion that she is, she knows that. But yeah, what's next for Valentina Shevchenko? Natalia Silva maybe, but there's also talks that a possible super fight with Zhang Weili, which I am absolutely open to it. I would like to see her fight Zhang Weili because I think that fight will make a lot of sense. Both girls have dominated the divisions. Why not fight each other? But I want to see Valentina Shevchenko go up weight too. I want to see Valentina Shevchenko possibly fight the winner of Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison. That builds curiosity to me as a fan of the sport and as a fan of the UFC. But we don't know if they're reserving that for Amanda Nunes, because Amanda Nunes did talk about possibly coming out of retirement and fighting the winner of that fight. So we don't know what's going to go on. But I do like the idea of Valentina versus Zhang Weili because I feel like both of these girls should probably already fight each other. And I think it's time. I think it's time for these girls to fight each other. But yeah. All right, moving on to the main events. For the UFC Welterweight Championship, the champion, Belal Muhammad, remember the name, versus Jack Della Maddalena, JDM. This fight right here, we did not expect JDM to be the contender to fight for this fight, but I think Shavkat Ramadan is probably not clear to fight yet, I believe. So that happened. This fight was just, it was, both of these guys were just brawling, fighting, and I feel like Jack Della Maddalena, his stand-up is so good, man. He wobbled Belal so many times that Belal had no answer for it. I think Belal was looking for a takedown, but he just couldn't get it because I think, I just think Jack was just a step ahead all the time. And Belal Muhammad also, I'm shocked that Belal was not using his wrestling as much because I feel like that's what won him the UFC belt against Leon Edwards, and he wasn't doing that. I mean, Belal was just trying to stand up with Jack. And I'm not saying that Belal was not doing a good job as far as stand-up goes, but I feel like Jack Della Maddalena was just the superior striker. And I feel like people were shocked going into this fight. Because we know that Belal is the type of guy that he's good at what he does, and he beats you at what he does. And a lot of people didn't really realize that until he fought Leon Edwards, until he fought Wonderboy, until he fought, Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, and all these other guys that I just mentioned. But Jack, I feel like, and it's crazy because it's crazy that he got the title shot because he hasn't fought since Gilbert Burns, when he beat Gilbert Burns last year in March, and it's been that long. And, he made a statement over Gilbert Burns. And let's not forget, Belal Muhammad also fought Gilbert Burns, and a lot of people thought that he could have lost that fight if Gilbert Burns was 100%, and Gilbert Burns was dealing with injuries going into that fight. But at the same time, Gilbert Burns was on a rampage as far as fighting goes. He was fighting 3 times in 4 months or 6 months, something crazy like that. So I'm not really taking anything away from Belal's win over Gilbert. But yes, Gilbert was dealing with injuries, but at the same time, a fighter's a fighter. Gilbert's a fighter. He's going to take that fight regardless. And this fight, man, both guys were just going at each other from bell to bell. There was times where I thought Jack was going to finish Belal, but Belal, showed the true champion spirit that he has. He's still in that fight, kept going. This is a fight that I'm probably going to have to rewatch again because it was a tough fight to judge. But I think Jack did enough to win this fight. I think Jack did win 3 rounds, if I'm being honest, and Belal probably won 2. But I strongly believe that Jack did enough. And it's the same thing with Valentina And Vermont, I feel like Valentina was losing going into the 4th round, but the championship rounds, she turned it around and beat her. But at the same time, going back to this fight, I think Jack did enough to win this. I think Jack Della Maddalena won 3 rounds. I'm sure he won 3 rounds, and I'm sure that's the reason the judges gave it to him. And I'm very critical when it comes to judges and refs, but I feel like the judges got this one right. And we have another Australian champion in the UFC, Alexander Volkanovski, and now Jack Della Maddalena. What's next for Jack Della Maddalena? I feel like he should fight Shafkat Ramadan. I think that's a fight they need to make. Also, Sean Brady, he's knocking on the door after his great win over Leon Edwards, making a statement, so he's knocking on the door too. But I think Shafkat Ramadan deserves a title shot next, if he's not injured. But if he's injured, I think they should go with Sean Brady against Jack Della Maddalena. But if Shafkat Ramadan is clear to fight, yes, do Jack Della Maddalena and Shafkat Ramadan. And do Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady, the rematch. Do that. Hopefully do it in Chicago. Just saying, if they do come to Chicago in August. And we know that Kamaru Usman is returning to fight Joaquin Buckley, so that's going to be exciting too. So a lot is going on in the welterweight division. This division is red hot right now, and a lot of good things are happening in this division. A lot of up-and-comers and a lot of good fighters. And let's not forget, Ian Gary Machado is still on that conversation too. So a lot of contenders in this division. But yeah. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. I know it's been 2 weeks, but I was not gonna let my MMA and my pro wrestling fans down. I did two events for you guys, just for you guys, in this episode. And with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much. Again, we will be doing episodes every week, so don't worry. I will be doing an episode next week, in the following week. So I took a break, just a little itsy break, but I'm back. So don't worry. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. This is Tito Madrano. This is TWT Talks with Tito, and I'll see you in the next episode. You guys take care. Goodbye.